In this video, I will show you what is SpaceX and how it's changing the space industry. What's up guys, I am Sandeep and you are watching Tuval. Launching things into space used to be the domain of government agencies, working with large aerospace contractors, but not anymore. In the past 2 decades, startup space companies have shown they can compete with and in some cases upstage their large counterparts. There is no better example of this than SpaceX. What is SpaceX? In 2020, SpaceX became the first private company to send astronauts to orbit, and they are currently building a giant new rocket system that could one day carry people to Mars. Being a private aerospace platform, SpaceX put satellites into orbit and delivers cargo. The platform has set up a reusable rocket and launch system for considerably cutting back on the space flight cost. In 2012, the company became the first private firm to send a cargo ship to International Space Station. The company became the talk of the town in 2010. Upon being the first private firm that is launching a payload into orbit and returning it to the Earth safely. On December 21, 2015, the platform landed upright after traveling to space back through Falcon 9 rocket, making this another first milestone for the company. On May 13, 2020, SpaceX launched its first crewed mission, in which test flight termed Demo 2 sent NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the International Space Station. This was followed by the lucrative launch of a crew of 4 astronauts to the International Space Station on November 15, 2020. This makes the platform the sole commercial spaceflight firm which has the capacity for delivering astronauts to the space as of early 2021. But everything was not that good. Failure to success. SpaceX is inspiring because of its failure as much as its success. The space company has endured multiple setbacks yet remains route to achieving its ambitious aims. In 2006, the first SpaceX launch fails just 33 seconds after liftoff. The cause was a rusty nut. This video provides a blurry view of looking down from the rocket until it explodes. In 2007, the company's next chance to establish credibility also ends in failure. The engine shut down prematurely and the rocket fails to reach orbit. In 2008, this video captures the moment when 2 of the rocket stages separate and collide, sending the craft into uncontrollable spin. Also on board was SpaceX's first payload for NASA. In 2015, a SpaceX rocket vaporizes shortly after launch. On board were 2 payloads for NASA destined for the International Space Station. NASA has since negotiated significant discounts on its SpaceX contracts. In 2016, SpaceX loses a rocket before launch after the vehicle explodes during fueling. As Musk likely sees it, this is just another setback on the road to turning humans into interplanetary species. And whatever you think of his plan, SpaceX remains on course for success despite multiple expensive failures. After 4 test flights prior to this, SpaceX launched and successfully landed its futuristic Starship on May 5, 2021, at last accomplishing a test flight of the rocket ship that Elon Musk intends to use to land astronauts on the moon and send people to Mars. What does SpaceX do? SpaceX is a private company under the direction of one person, Elon Musk, that currently builds and launches 2 rockets, the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. The booster stages of these rockets usually return to the Earth for refurbishment, which saves money and helps SpaceX undercut competitor prices. SpaceX also builds and flies Dragon, a space capsule that can carry crew and cargo to the International Space Station. The company eventually plans to fly private astronauts on Dragon. SpaceX is working on a large rocket and space system called Starship that will be able to carry massive payloads to space. Starship may eventually ferry people to Mars for permanent habitation. The company is also deploying a massive constellation of small satellites called Starlink, intended to provide global high-speed internet access. The satellite, which number around 1,000 at present, has sparked controversy because of concern they might create light pollution and interface with astronomical research. How do NASA and SpaceX rely on each other? Without the investment of NASA, private spaceflight today would look very different. In 2006, NASA began investing in private space companies with the hope that they could one day provide cargo and crew transportation to the International Space Station. SpaceX was one of the first companies to receive money from NASA. The company was just 4 years old at that time. NASA paid for roughly half the cost to develop SpaceX Workhorse Falcon 9 rocket. In 2008, SpaceX received a multi-billion-dollar contract to fly cargo to the International Space Station. The company was just on the verge of bankruptcy and would likely to have run out of money without NASA. Today, SpaceX generates revenue from a variety of customers, but a significant portion of its funding comes flying crew and cargo to the International Space Station, as well as launching NASA spacecrafts. NASA did not have the replacement ready when the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011. Despite having 7 years to prepare, the agency never received the funding necessary to finish the construction of International Space Station and develop a human-capable spacecraft and rocket system, all while continuing to fly the shuttle, which by the end of its lifetime cost $3.5 billion per year. Anticipating the need for an alternative to send cargo and crews to the International Space Station, NASA turned to the aerospace industries with a novel proposal. Rather than paying companies to build NASA-owned vehicles at NASA-owned facilities, NASA paid companies to build their own vehicles and then bought flights on those vehicles. In 2008, the agency signed contracts with SpaceX, an orbital-sized corporation, to build and fly their own cargo vehicles to International Space Station. The plan worked not even a year after the shuttle program ended. In 2020, SpaceX became the first private company to send NASA astronauts to the International Space Station. Without SpaceX, the only US company currently capable of carrying cargo to the International Space Station would currently be Northrop Grumman, and NASA would still be reliant on Russian Soyuz for crew transportation. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. Just click the button below this video.